5 points to prove to you that the rest of the world do not really like us. Because I have this feeling like we only care about the world being a better place for everybody when shit happens to white people. But when it happens to black people, the world is just fine the way it is. If what happened to the Jewish people in Germany was really that traumatizing, like I believe it was and still is, why is Israel not using all that power that it has to make sure that what happened never happens to anybody again in the world? Never, to nobody, especially to people in the DR Congo. If not because of humanity, do it because your main export is diamonds and you don't have a diamond mine in your motherfucking country. Everyone in the world is in Congo, and at the same time, no one is in Congo. You would think they should know the value that Africans add to their lives at the expense of Africans. Because why would France be stealing uranium from Niger at 80 cents per kilogram, while similar uranium from Canada is 200 euros per kilogram? At least China builds infrastructures in Africa. But why do they own mines? Who in their right mind is selling mines?
Oh my god, here we go again.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Dummy Effect. So okay folks, come closer, all right? Come closer. If you're black and of African descent, come closer. We need to talk. There's something very important that we need to talk about. Come closer. If you have skin like mine, black skin, dark skin, chocolate skin, come closer. We need to talk about something so important. No matter what we do, no matter what we achieve in life, we are never seen as more than. We are always like less than. For centuries, Africans and people of African descent were marginalized as part of the legacy of slavery and colonialism. There is a growing consensus that slavery, colonialism, racism, and racial discrimination have caused Africans and people of African descent to be held back in many aspects of life. True that. But why is nothing changing? That's my question. Why is nothing changing? Everything is still the same. Why do I feel like the world hates Africa and African people all over the world? Why do I feel like that's what is happening all over the world? If you have experienced different things in life, like if you're black and you've never experienced, like you've never seen anything like people hate you and stuff like that, please let me know in the comment section below, because you need to be studied. Why is Africa good for nothing else but mineral extraction? In today's video, I am trying to prove to you and the world that the rest of the world does not really care about Africans or Africa or black people or anybody that comes from Africa. Okay, so sit tight, relax, and listen carefully. Okay, and you might be thinking that this channel is all about relationship and entertainment, and you're right. Because of the introduction that I've given already, you might be thinking that no, what I've said already is not like, it doesn't sound like a relationship topic or entertainment. That's where you're wrong, because this topic is more relationship than you think. The relationship between African countries and the rest of the world, between African leaders and the rest of the world. Okay, how African leaders are getting fucked without consent, how Mother Africa's children are confused as to why so many people are looting their homes, like looting the things that they have in their homes, our mineral resources. They are taking it all away from us. Why nobody likes us in the world? Why do the uncles that we feed, why do they not like us? Why is it that when we go to their houses, they always look at us like second-class citizens, even though we are the ones that feed them? If you know what I mean. Why is it that when we travel to their countries, they always look at us like we are some native, primitive type people, right? They treat us like second-class citizens. So I have 5 points that I'm going to touch on in order to convince you or to prove to you that the rest of the world do not really like us. Like nobody likes us. Number one is they do not want us to develop. The legacies of slavery and colonialism have contributed to the ongoing economic disparities in Africa, with many African nations facing challenges in achieving sustainable development and economic stability. First off, what is sustainable development? So basically, sustainable development is the development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generation to also meet their own needs. And for example, we have wind energy, solar energy, green spaces, and sustainable forestry. Levels. They keep stealing from us in crazy levels that it makes those developments unimaginable. Like when you think about having those developments, it's like, what are we, crazy? We don't even have the money to sustain those things. We don't even have the money to create those things to be sustainable like that. And they are out here acting like they don't know why Africa can't really have sustainable development. Because why would France be stealing uranium from Niger at 80 cents per kilogram, while similar uranium from Canada is 200 euros per kilogram? How do you expect us to have sustainable development if you keep stealing from us like this? They steal everything that we have, everything that we can use to make sustainable, to make meaningful changes for our present present and future generations. They steal everything. Tell me how we're going to have sustainable development. Before I even go any further, right, I just want to make my feelings clear. Fuck France forever. Fuck France forever. If you agree with me, go down in the comment section and type in fuck France forever. Hashtag fuck France forever. Number 2, France in Africa. This is what France does to keep the French countries in Africa or the colonies in Africa in line. They use the franc CFA. So the CFA franc was a currency designed by France to ensure that French control survived colonialism's official demise. And it most definitely did, because with the CFA franc system, the Bank of Central African countries are compelled to deposit a significant portion of their foreign currency reserve, that's 50% of their money, into the French treasury. And this deposit amounts to two times the aid provided by France to sub-Saharan Africa. France essentially returns a fraction of these mandatory deposits to African nations as a form of assistance. And these people have the effrontery to lock up Hush Puppy because he's a scammer. Bro, who is scamming who? And even in Nigeria right now, they are putting people in prison who are making a living taking from thieves. According to me, these so-called scammers should be referred to as Robin Hoods. If you don't know the story of Robin Hood, go and check it out. Basically, the poor and the rich have a relationship. Because if you look at it carefully, these fools have been stealing from us, have been scamming us since before my grandparents were even born. And no one is saying anything about it. Because for an example, explain to me how somebody's going to take 70% of your money and then give you back 1% as aid, as help. They're trying to help you with 1% of your money. Who the fuck is helping who? Are we the one helping them or the one helping us? They take all of our money and minerals away, build up their countries, constant electricity, good roads, hospitals, and all that good shit. These are countries that us as Africans cannot even try to go to, because the interrogation process, interview, will make you feel like a terrorist. And we are back here in Africa, no electricity, dusty and muddy roads. A hospital is more of a death sentence than anything. We practically don't even have a country, and our stupid, very, very stupid leaders don't even care. They don't even have the balls to say shit. They don't even have the kahunas to say shit. They just bend over and get fucked in the ass. And they like it because they never say shit. At least they have more than enough to take care of themselves and their families. Meanwhile, their citizens are dying of poverty, in poverty. And yet these leaders will still turn around and say they don't want gay relationships in their countries. Bro, at the rate at which you guys are getting fucked in the ass raw by the West, I think you should share that privilege with some of the gay people in your country. They can fuck whoever they want. Let us not be hypocrites. But damn, these old great-grandfathers who call themselves leaders of ours, I pity them sometimes. Because even if they try to complain, especially in the French countries in Africa, the French will destabilize the country, kick them out, and make them look bad in the eyes of the citizens. And sometimes, if they're not careful, they can even be killed. They did that in Cote d'Ivoire in 2011. And even in Guinea, when Guinea decided to issue its own national currency in 1960, abandoning the CFA franc, France organized a sabotage operation to destabilize the new country. They sent in French Secret Service agents and flooding the country with fake bank notes. This sent a clear message to other French countries who were even thinking about abandoning the CFA. Don't mess with France. So because of all this, tell me how Africa can be able to achieve sustainable development and economic stability. At least China builds infrastructures in Africa. But why do they own mines? Who in their right mind is selling mines? That is like finding genie in the bottle and then selling that shit for $1 million. Genie in the bottle can make you rich beyond your wildest dreams, just like the mines. The mines can really make a country very, very rich. Who in their right mind is out here selling mines? Bro, I hate when dumb people are dumb. Number 3, African mines. In the DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo, where approximately 70% of the world's cobalt is produced, Chinese firms own or have stakes in 15 out of 19 cobalt producing mines. China is very, very rich and Congo is very, very poor. In 2019, mineral exports from sub-Saharan Africa to China reached $10 billion. And Chinese companies represent only 8% of Africa's total output in the mining sector. Why are they benefiting more from our mines than we do? And you should see how these Chinese people treat our fellow Africans. Sometimes they talk to us like we don't mean nothing. They treat us like we are shit. Even when Africans travel to the white people countries with our dark skin, you should see how they treat us. You should see how they look at us. You would think they should know the value that Africans add to their lives at the expense of Africans. But they don't. Their governments do not teach them that the continent of Africa literally keeps them in comfortable situations while Africans suffer every day. Number 4, African borders. In 1884 to 1885, European powers came together and divided Africa into territories. This was done with no African present and without considering ethnic and cultural lines, which has led to long-term political and cultural challenges. This was the Berlin Conference. As you can see, the disrespect started a long time ago. This is what we call see finish. When they don't see you finish, they say you don't do anything. Because they knew something we did not know back then. They knew that divided we will all fall. And we have been on the ground ever since, with their knees on our necks. The division in Africa is one of the reasons why Africa is still finding it very hard to develop economically, socially, and culturally. We do not know each other because keeping us apart made it very, very difficult for us to know and understand each other. Therefore, keeping us poor and needy, and it even made things 10 times expensive. And most of all, it prevented us from experiencing the beauty of our various African cultures. Some of us still do not know about other African cultures. How many cultures do we have? We have so many cultures in Africa. Usually when they are describing Africa, one of the key descriptions of Africa is we are rich in culture. We have so many cultures. They intentionally keep us away and against each other. We fight each other and see each other as lazy, thieves, and xenophobic. And while we are out here battling each other and seeing each other as all these things, they are in Africa stealing from us and making themselves rich and powerful. And we are here worshipping them and the God they introduced us. Let me ask you a question. How long do you think it takes to travel Africa versus traveling the EU? Of course, I know Africa is way bigger than the EU. That is not the only thing that is big on Africans or about Africans. But that is not what I'm trying to talk about. I'm not trying to compare sizes. Even if it's that, we are still bigger. But that's not what I'm trying to talk about. I am talking about how easy it is for an EU citizen to move from one EU country to another. All they basically need to travel within the EU is a valid passport or a national identity and maybe some small amount of money. If you don't have money, you can just use your card. I think. I've never been there. Please let me know in the comment section. Well, in Africa, for an African to travel Africa, all you need basically is a passport, a valid passport, and that's it. Oh my god. Oh, okay, that's very funny. Nah, but for real though, for an African to travel his or her continent, this is what you need: a valid passport, let's count, a valid passport, a bank statement, a bank account full of money, reason for traveling, service fee, and then wait for 5 to 10 working days or even a month or 2 for your visa to be approved before you start stepping. Yeah, all that to travel within Africa. Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, said he needs 38 visas to travel within the continent on his Nigerian passport. Meanwhile, many European nationals just whirls into most African countries visa-free. Now, tell me that is not crazy. How shameful is that? In 2013, all African Union member states adopted a vision and roadmap for the next 50 years. On that roadmap, African nations were supposed to scrap visa requirements for all African citizens by 2018. But to date, the Seychelles is the only nation where visa-free travel is open to all Africans as well as to citizens of every nation, as it always has been. So, it's not that we are given some special privileges because we are Africans. No, nah. The border was open to everybody, and us Africans were just part of everybody. So, no special treatment here. South Africa appears to be the most visible representative of the continent's visa double standards, remaining largely closed to other African countries, but more welcoming to the white world. Citizens of only 15 African countries can travel to South Africa without a visa out of the 54 countries in Africa. Yet 28 different European countries can enter into the country without a visa. Do you know what I just realized? As Africans or as black people, we get nothing for free. We get no special treatment. No, really. Think about it. We get no special treatment from anybody. If your skin is black, you get no special treatment. But everybody wants a share of Africa, but they don't care about Africans. Nobody actually gives a flying fuck about the black man, and in some cases not even the black man. The system is very, very active and it's working very well. Number 5, King Leopold II of Belgium and the Mau Mau movement in Kenya. I don't know if you guys have heard about King Leopold II of Belgium and what he did to the people of Congo, to the Congolese. What about what happened in Kenya during the British colonial rule in the Mau Mau revolt? If all that I've said did not convince you that nobody likes Africans or the black man, sit tight because this one is going to do the trick. Christianity was one of the justifications used by European powers during the colonization of Africa. Christian missions were established and often operated in tandem with colonial administrations, facilitating the spread of Western education, languages, and religious practices. These are the tools that they use to make us susceptible to slavery. Let's start with King Leopold. Yeah, this guy. Remember King Leopold II, right? He was one of these colonial masters who came to Africa using Christianity as a cover-up for what he really intended to do. On February 5th, 1985, the Belgian King Leopold II established the Congo Free State by brutally seizing African landmass as his personal possession. Rather than control the Congo as a colony, as the European powers did throughout Africa, Leopold privately owned the region. King Leopold II's reign was a nightmare to the people, to the Congolese, with up to 10 million dying from punishment and malnutrition. Under King Leopold II's rule, the Congolese were subjected to forced labor, particularly in the rubber and the ivory industries. Those who failed to meet the harsh quotas were often punished by amputations. The brutality was so extreme that even the other colonial powers of the time condemned it. You can imagine how brutal this person was. Like, everyone was brutal back then. Everyone was doing crazy shit back then. But King Leopold was just extra with the brutality that everybody was like, yo, bro, what the hell? We are not even thinking about this thing. How are you thinking this far? I'm sure he also inspired some other people to start doing crazy shit to other Africans. The brutal exploitation and harsh conditions led to a significant decline in the population. Between 1880 and 1920, the Congo lost approximately half of its population due to forced labor, starvation, disease, and violence. If that is not the definition of genocide, then I don't think there's anything that we can actually use to define genocide. I mean, these are things that we are supposed to never forget, right? I mean, like, never forget. Considering how bad this is genocide level. This is genocide level things we are talking about. But for some reason, I am not hearing too much about this. The only time you would hear about what happened in Congo or in Kenya, don't worry, we're going to talk about Kenya very soon. It's also very, very crazy. Is by mistake, or if something major happened and remind people about this situation, and all of a sudden people are going to jump on this and start talking about this. But somehow we can never forget what happened in Germany to the Jewish people, can we? And you better be careful what you say about the Jewish people, because your words can and will be used against you. If you even mistakenly say words like Jews, Jewish people, Israel in a negative tone, or even Jesus is king, bro, your ass is bacon. Oh no, you're anti-Semitic. So let me ask you all this. We all know why we study history, right? History is the study of the past, and we study history so we don't repeat the messed up things that happened in the past. I am saying that to say this: if what happened to the Jewish people in Germany was really that traumatizing, like I believe it was and still is, why is Israel not using all that power that it has to make sure that what happened to them in Germany never happens to anybody again in the world? Never, to nobody, especially to people in the DR Congo. If not because of humanity, do it because your main export is diamonds and you don't have a diamond mine in your motherfucking country. At least do it for that. Because if a traumatizing thing happens to you, the least you can do is to prevent that same traumatizing thing from happening to other people. For example, a traumatizing thing happened in South Africa. Apartheid, look it up. And now they are seeing something similar happening in Palestine, and they are using their voice to say or do something about it, no matter the consequences. Why don't we all try to do things in the world to make the world a better place? Because I have this feeling like we only care about the world being a better place for everybody when shit happens to white people. But when it happens to black people, no, nothing, the world is just fine the way it is. Everyone in the world is in Congo, and at the same time, no one is in Congo. They are there for the minerals, but at the same time, they are not there when rebels start to kill people, because people are really dying over there in big numbers, and sometimes even kids, because kids are working in the mines that kids are not supposed to work in mines, brother. Kids are not supposed to be in mines, but over in Congo, kids are in mines working. Girls and boys, small baby boys, kids, small boys and small girls are in mines working. I am saying all these things because I see a pattern here. Like I said earlier, when anything happens that has anything to do with trauma to white people in general, very strict laws and rules are put in place so their feelings don't get hurt, mostly because they are in very, very powerful positions. You talk anyhow, you see anyhow. But when it happens in Africa, to Africans, to black people, to hell with all of them, no one fucking cares. They even pay Africans to not care about Africans. Oh brother, that is crazy, bro. These white people piss me off sometimes. Oh, okay. Sorry, oh. Okay. Let's talk about the Mau Mau revolt in Kenya. The British suppression of the Mau Mau uprising was marked by systemic torture and abuse. The colonization process in Kenya involved taking land from the indigenous people, which led to widespread grievances and conflict. Normally, because I'm gonna fight you. You cannot just come in my house and start trying to take my things. No way. In the 1950s, the British implemented a policy of villagization in the Mount Kenya region. This policy was a direct effort to break the support for the Mau Mau rebellion and punish those involved. The main targets were the Gikuyu-speaking women, their children, and elders. They were forcibly resettled into 854 enclosed camps across central Kenya throughout 1954. This policy altered social relations and indeed intensified the conflict between the loyalists and the Mau Mau fighters. The British colonial government response to the Mau Mau uprising was marked by extreme violence. Suspected Mau Mau rebels were detained in camps where they were subjected to brutal violations, torture, abuse, and executions. Naturally, the British government tried to cover up these atrocities, but historical records and survival testimonies brought the truth to light. Do you know what I think? What happened to the Gikuyu people in Kenya and what happened to the Jewish people in Germany have some similarities we can all agree were inhumane, and the world should never ever have to witness those atrocities again, those inhumane things again, even though that's what is kind of happening in Palestine at the moment, but that's a topic for another day. There is a point I want to make here, all right? Come with me. The Holocaust started in 1941 and ended in 1945. The Mau Mau revolt started in 1952 and ended in 1960. Please stay with me. By no means am I trying to downplay the atrocities that happened in Germany, okay? No, that's not what I'm trying to do. So, the Holocaust, 1941 to 1945, right? Good. The Mau Mau revolt, 1952, 1960. So what are we seeing here? What am I trying to point to you? What am I trying to show you? I am not good at math. Okay, I am not good at math, but let me give it a try. What we are seeing here is fuckery. Now, what is fuckery? My definition is when you only care about what people bring to the table and only what is on the table, and not give a fuck about the people that brought those things on the table. When you don't give a fuck about people because they look different from the way you look, or because they are from a different place from where you are from. In this case, because we are Africa, because we are Africans, because we are black people. So the Holocaust started in 1941. The Mau Mau movement, the Mau Mau revolt started in 1952. So 1941, 1942, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52. That's when the Mau Mau revolt started. And the Holocaust ended in 1945. So the Holocaust basically started and ended before the Mau Mau revolt started in 1952. And by that time, everyone already had knowledge about what Hitler did. Today, everyone in the world knows what happened to the Jewish people in Germany. By everyone, I mean everyone that can read and write and can watch the news and understand what is happening in the news or around the world. Of course, as they should, right? Because when horrible things like that happen, we need to know about these things, so we prevent them from happening again. But even with what we knew, the history of what we knew that happened in 1940s Germany, the British did the same thing again in Kenya and kept quiet about it, even when it was brought to light, because that shit was actually covered for a very, very long time. So I said all that to say this. But why, when bad things happens to white people, it qualifies as crime against humanity, but when it happens to black people, nobody needs to know? When it happens to Africans, nobody needs to know. So basically, we have had holocaustic events in Africa 2 times. One is actually still going on right now in Africa. Nobody gives a fuck. All they care about is their bottom line, and that is what is beneath the African soil or what they can harvest from Africa. If you feel like this video was not dumb, let me know about it in the comments section. If you feel like this video was not dumb, let me know about it in the comment section. Or just like, comment, share. Or you can basically just like, comment, leave a comment, share, subscribe. Share and subscribe. Or you can just like, leave a comment still on anything that you want to leave a comment about. Share the video. And more importantly, subscribe. And what else? See you in the next one, and bye-bye. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.